This isn't showing up, Aaron. Are you recording? Are you not live?
We are live now.
No, we're not. You're recording.
Says live, three people watching.
Okay, well, I guess YouTube is not allowing us to monetize tonight, so that's interesting. Welcome in, everybody. Are we sure?
Yep, now we're down to 2.
Okay. I'm just telling you, I can't, it's not showing up that it's a live show.
I see that as well.
And it shows live. That's weird. It shows live on the page. All right, so we're dealing with some technical difficulties on the back end, but bear with us. We'll get going anyway. Welcome in. It is the Nightcap, brought to you by Galactic Fried Chicken, right here on BearcatJournal.com. I don't know what's happening, but we'll figure it out eventually. As always, www.galacticfriedchicken.com. Go to the app, and they will bring it to you right to your front door, pretty much anywhere inside the 275 loop. Or you can go down to Dayton, Kentucky, tell them to pump it up, save yourself 15% off of your order. Give me a sec. Can you talk for a second, Aaron, while I try to
Sure.
figure this out?
Well, obviously we are joined by Zach Edwards, and we are still reeling a little bit from last week's loss against Iowa State. Zach, you watched at least some of the game, I'm sure. What were your thoughts as you were taking that in as a player who has built equity in this program with blood, sweat, and tears?
I mean, I don't know what to say about it, honestly. I mean, obviously, the guys, a lot of people give them grief for not trying or not playing hard, but obviously, you don't go out there and not try hard, especially if you love the game. So, I mean, that I kind of like take that out of the aspect when people are saying they aren't playing hard, they aren't trying. Yeah, they are. I just don't know if they have it all together. I mean, like we talked about before, like there's no continuity in this group, if you ask me. And that can be something difficult to play with. I mean, if you guys don't know each other, yeah, you go through camp together, but I mean, camp is only a small part of it. You don't really get to grow for years and years or not, because normally freshmen aren't playing, so you get time as a freshman to grow with the people around you. So I mean, it just seems like they lack continuity and cohesiveness as a team, and it's kind of disappointing because it does look bad. I obviously love the program, love Cincinnati, but it just kind of looks bad, especially with the output that we've been getting.
I do have a question.
Mm-hmm.
How much do you think what people might see as lack of effort is becoming maybe a lack of confidence? Because Satterfield talked a lot about the missed touchdown on the first drive of the game. I've talked a lot about that goal line, that wasn't a stand, where they dropped a pick, they had a pick swatted away, they get the fake field goal for a first down, then you hold them again and get the third down, you get the roughing the quarterback or the unsportsmanlike, you hit them in the helmet, then they get the touchdown. How much of it is you've gone through a tough season? You went through a season that didn't go like any of you wanted it to go.
4-8. Yeah, 4-8.
How much is confidence? Is that like that line of playing with confidence? Is that thin where you feel like nothing is going your way?
Confidence definitely plays a big part in that. I mean, I can speak from my own experiences. Having confidence in each other is one of the biggest things. Because you are going out there and playing with each other. So you definitely have confidence in each other, whether you have confidence in the staff or not. The biggest thing is on having confidence within each other. And it does start from the top, and believing in the system, believing in the program, believing in the culture. I mean, I do believe that plays a big part in it. Like I said, I'm not sure how these guys feel about it, but I can
Sure.
definitely see confidence playing a big deal in what's going on right now. Because I mean, yeah, it looks like it's not effort, but if you're not playing confident, then you're playing a little bit slow, a little bit of a step behind because you're unsure. You know what I mean? When you're playing with confidence, you're out there flying around and you making mistakes at 1,000 miles an hour, you still make plays. You know what I mean? So I think confidence is a big thing, and it could be something that they're lacking right now. And I mean, from the outside looking in, I would say they're lacking a lot of confidence on both ends, within each other and within the culture.
Yeah. I mean, that's just that's I've been trying to kind of like rationalize this or
Mm-hmm.
like figure out exactly like where this is coming from, and that just feels like a spot where I don't see a team that's able to absorb mistakes and play through them right now.
Right.
I do think we've seen that. They weren't in it, like they should have won the Miami game. Like we've said it 1,000 times. You get a field goal with 3 seconds left from 35 yards or whatever it was. That's a game you should win.
Exactly.
BYU, it was dumb stuff. The pick six, the attempt on the punt return, but stuff that's correctable. Iowa State didn't feel correctable. It felt like a team that was deflated,
Yeah.
and kind of what you would maybe expect on a team with as many transfers, with a new coaching staff, with so few holdovers that are from that era where they didn't lose.
Right.
And 4-game losing streak for this program is not something that happens often.
No. I think the last
So
time that's happened was what, my senior
like,
year, and then Fick's first
and
year.
then yeah, it
Yeah.
happened again in 17.
Mm-hmm.
And from there they got on a roll, 5
Right.
years of massive success, and now you're kind of everybody's looking around going, what the hell's going on?
Right. And I mean, and that's another thing that like I've been seeing around is people like Bash and Satterfield, which I mean that is what it is and how you want to perceive it. But like Fick went 4-8 his first year. Um,
Yeah.
and I'm not comparing him. I'm just talking about the program period. The programs go 4-8, and then the next years to come, they can be a powerhouse. It does take a while. It is a process. But I guess the thing is, like with Fick, you at least seen bright spots, so to say,
Right.
within that first year. It's kind of hard to see them for Satterfield, unfortunately, this first year, than these first half of the season. So I mean, hopefully things trend differently than what they have been. Because I mean, it sucks to see them where they're at right now, and see a lot of people jumping ship. It does suck. Being in the program, playing in the program, so just being a proud alum, it sucks. But I mean, you kind of understand it with the performance that's been put out there.
Right. All right, let's look ahead to Baylor. We've got another noon game, another early kick. They suck. I don't love them. I mean, I like being done
Yeah, but
a little bit earlier, but that the get up and have to get everything done that you can get done and get to the stadium early. That part is always a pain.
yes,
But you are putting a Baylor team in a position where they have to play at 11 a.m. On their internal clock.
mm-hmm.
So you hopefully make it a little bit more difficult for them. I know in this league, most of the games seem to be around noon. So I'm sure most of the teams are used to it. But, it is what it is. Let's get to three keys. And as always, we will start with our guest, Zach Edwards. What do you got for us, Zach?
I think my three keys would have to be, first and foremost, we got to start fast. Got to start fast, get some momentum going, both offensively, get some stops on defense. And speaks to that, my second point would have to be is you got to limit the big plays. I mean, Baylor's always been known for their big plays. And I mean, our defense is playing well, but we got to be able to stop the big plays and limit them to the big plays.
And to your point there, they cannot run the ball.
Right.
They are gonna throw the ball a lot.
Exactly.
You cannot. The secondary has had issues giving up big plays. You cannot let Baylor hit 4, 5, 30+ yard plays in this game.
Exactly, and that's why that's my second biggest. It could be my first, but I think with the way we've been playing, our key thing is we have to start fast. I think that gets everything rolling, gets everything put in position. And then secondly, like I said, you got to be able to eliminate the big plays. Because I mean, they are spotty when it comes to scoring, as far as their scores. But I mean, still, everybody knows they can score quick, they can score fast, and it comes off a lot of big plays. And I think my last thing, and it might be me, it might be everybody else. I don't know. But we got to be able to run the ball. We have to be able to run the ball. I think that's a key factor in how you win games. Clock management and running the ball successfully. Get ahead of the chains.
I concur. I like all of those points.
Those are all right in line with kind of, I think, where we're all going to be for this game, because I don't think it's a difficult game to break down in terms of what Cincinnati needs to do to win.
Yeah, I think it's very simple.
Well, I had wanted to make my 3 keys offense, defense, and special teams, but I thought that was not nearly detailed enough. So I did come up with 3 keys to share here. Number 1, you've got to pump it up. And I say that because there was no energy last week. There was no energy on the sidelines. There was no energy on the field. There was no energy in the crowd. As of right now, it doesn't look like there's going to be any rain coming in. It looks like it's going to be 63 and partly cloudy. And I saw a 0% chance, according to the weather app that I use, for precipitation on Saturday. That said, you heard Dante Corleone say it at the presser. He asked the fans to show up. The student section needs to have a reason to stick around, and there needs to be energy. And it starts on the field. And I don't want to see a team looking that like defeated early in the first half ever again.
Yeah.
My second one, cast your own shadow. Somebody said that to me a long time ago in the working world. And by that, I mean, basically be a leader. You find your leaders, whether they're vocal, whether they're just making plays. And I think that this team struggled with, honestly, both. I know we've kind of beat the drum this past week on vocal leadership, but I think that you can also be a leader just by going out and getting the work done. And that's having a short memory. That's moving on to the next play. That's just making plays when your number is called. And I feel like this team's struggling in all aspects of leadership. And I think halfway through the season is kind of where we saw in a different sport, but that's when Landers Nolly kind of started getting his feet under him. I know the transfer portal makes it a little hard to have that established leadership, but this is where we're at. So hopefully we see some more leadership step up, both on the sidelines and on the field. That goes for coaching too. But and I think you need to get grimy in the trenches. I think that both offense and defense starts with that line. And I think that the offensive line has been a reason why the offense has not been able to open up nearly enough, why people have been critical of Emery not being able to make reads. And I think that part of it is the fact that he hasn't had the time to make reads. I think this defensive line, we have all heard how highly rated that they were all offseason. And I think we're kind of struggling to see in a Brian Brown offense, the defense, I'm sorry, what this defensive line should be looking like according to what we all thought in the offseason. So I want to see both lines, whether they're getting Chad's talked about, get a penalty, just get fired up, like show some heart, show that you're doing everything in your power to protect your quarterback on the offensive side, to get to the quarterback on the defensive side. And I think the other things will start to fall into place if the lines just start to get Clifton nasty. Those are my three.
I mean, they have been elite stopping the run. Like, they are one of the elite run defenses in the country. And they are third in the country in fewest completions allowed in a game. And that just tells you how bad they've been allowing the big play, allowing receivers to get open, allowing, a 75-yard pass against Iowa State on a simple double move that was supposed to be cover 2, and the safety just sucked up instead of playing over the top, and all of a sudden you got a guy running free down the sidelines.
To my point, though, I want them to get home, get after the quarterback.
No, right, that's the point. Like that, but they have been elite on the run side on the rushing side of things.
Yeah,
but when it comes to getting after the quarterback, they have not gotten home. They have not. And Zach can tell you, when you're deep, you've played on teams where the defensive line got home a lot.
Yeah.
Boy, that makes the safety's job a lot easier, don't it?
Oh man, yeah. And I was blessed my entire career to have a tremendous defensive line year in and year out. All those guys play really hard. And I used to, whenever we made plays, it was all, I made sure whether it was me or the other DBs always show love to D-line. That's where it starts. Like, they make our job a lot easier. And I believe most successful DBs play well because of the D-line. And I think, we have a good run stopping defense, but we do have to have a pass rush at some point. You know what I mean? Once we stop the run, the next thing to do is pass. They have all day to pass. Playing DB isn't easy, but I mean, I will say that watching the DBs, they have to play better, obviously. But having a pass rush definitely helps you tremendously.
Even on the offensive side of the ball, though, they've been running fairly well up until Iowa State. They've been running the ball fairly well, but again, it's that pass defense or pass protection that they've been struggling with. So I don't know. I want to see both lines just play better.
Yeah, agreed
for sure. Let me get mine pulled up. Of course, my phone starts ringing as I'm trying to do this. I'm not having a good technical night here.
No, it's been from Jump Street. It's been one of our worst shows.
All right, here we go. Run it up. Baylor does not have a good run defense. They don't. They are at bottom of the conference in run defense. And it goes to the earlier point of you got to start fast. You can't pound the rock until you prove you can establish the run or establish, a lead and play with the lead, play ahead. You're not going to be able to fully, expand the run game the way you want to if you're playing from behind. So Baylor has also been really bad in the early portion of games. So you've got to prove that you've got the ability to get ahead and then control the clock, control the outcome of the game with your running game against a team that struggles to stop the run. Play with confidence. Have that Bearcat swagger. You can't let a couple little things take you down. There are going to be ebbs and flows. There are going to be times in games where it doesn't go your way. You got to play through it and show we are going to be able to overcome if you fall down 10-7. Like, your team can't fold when you fall down by 3. You go march down the field, get a touchdown, and now you're up by 4. And right now, this is just not a team that shows a lot of confidence in what they're doing. And then number 3, take it away. Where are the turnovers? We have seen some drop interceptions. We haven't seen where's the ball been on the ground for the other team. Like, where have they forced teams into fumbles since the Pitt game? Where have they put teams in adverse situations with turnovers? Some of that, again, as we just talked about, is the defensive line. But the defense, like Jordan Young had a pick right in his hands. He undercut a quick slant in the red zone. You can't drop that ball. Like, you've got to catch that ball. They don't get any points. You get the ball, you're up 7-3, and you've got momentum. Like, the stuff that, what did we talk about the other night, Aaron? This is a boom or bust defense. It is with the pressure that they want to apply, with the way that the scheme works. It is designed for sacks and turnovers. You are going to give up some big plays because you're being aggressive. And that's okay if you're getting sacks and turnovers. If you're giving up big plays and you're not getting sacks and you're not getting turnovers,
it's just a bust defense, not a boom or bust defense. It's just a bust.
And I think that goes back to playing with confidence, like you said.
Yeah.
It goes back to playing with confidence, playing with a little bit of swagger, flying around. And I mean, that is what they lack. That's what they're lacking. You create turnovers when you're flying around.
I feel like Jordan Young's had about somewhere between like 3 and 5 of those almost picks.
Yeah.
And it's time to just take one.
Got to capitalize on those. Got to.
Yeah. It's
stressful.
This is a game I think they should win. But I felt a lot more comfortable about it before Iowa State. And after Iowa State, I'm questioning a lot of everything. Like, this is still, Baylor has not been good this year. But they did come back and beat UCF. They're not a team without a pulse. And guess what? They're also a team that is going to come in here with their back against the wall.
Yeah, absolutely.
You're going into the back half of the season. If you're going to turn it around, you have to turn it around right now.
You have to win 4 of your last 6 games, including this one, if you're going to be bowl eligible.
I just mean not even the bowl, but just in general. Like, if you're going to get back on track, there's no next week. Now. And I need to see that urgency. I need to see guys coming out of the tunnel fired up. Guys chomping at the bit for the opening kickoff.
Playing
instead of guys that, I just saw a bunch of guys that showed up last Saturday for a football game. Like, oh, we got a game Saturday. No, that's not what's made this program great for 20 years.
No.
Like that, it's just not how it works. So
no, you gotta play with some pride. Have to have some pride in.
What do you see? Like, what do you see that can fix it? Is it just a matter of getting a win, getting to halftime with like a 10-point lead, where everybody goes into the locker room and doesn't feel like, shoulders down, head slumped? Like, what do you think internally, mentally, these guys need to kind of turn shit around?
I honestly think those guys that's been in the program and know what it takes to play for Cincinnati, and when Cincinnati was winning, when they were rolling, when the culture was there, I think it takes for those guys, like we see the pressers and all that, but like in the locker room, how vocal are they? Like, are they holding each other accountable? Are they setting the standard of what they've known? Yeah, Satterfield comes with its own culture and all, but there has to be a standard. And especially, again, being a guy from Cincinnati, playing for Cincinnati, there was always a standard of that you didn't want to let your city down and you wanted to play for your city. And I mean, like I said, with all the transfers, I don't think that's the case. And I mean, it's sad to say, but I think it takes for those guys actually holding people, and I don't know, but holding the other guys to a higher standard of this is how we play the brand of Cincinnati football, regardless. And so we're going to go out there and we're going to bust our tails for the entire game, whether up or down. Because the ball can bounce your way at one time and it changes things just like that. So I mean,
Right.
I think for me, I think that's what it is. I think those guys that's been around have to be more vocal and hold guys to a standard of Cincinnati football. It ain't, oh, we'll just set the ball down, we'll go play. No, you got to grind, you got to work. I mean, I think that's what it is. I mean, I don't think a win, like obviously we want to see a win, but we've seen them after a win. They still came out, and I mean, we lost Miami out. So we've seen them after a win. Yeah,
Right.
they can win a game, but it's more than just winning a game.
How tough is it on a player when you have one of those games where you were the better team, you dominated the statistics, but you lost? Because it happened twice. Like they literally were the team with the highest win expectancy in the country to end up with a loss twice this season. How hard is it on a player to experience that where it feels like we should have won the game and it wasn't good enough?
Oh, it's definitely tough. It's extremely tough. But I mean, you got to be able to look yourself in the mirror and say you gave it your all first and foremost. Then once you do that, if you can sit there and say you gave your all, okay, then where did we lack? Where did we miss out? Where were the mistakes made?
Right.
And then once you get past that point, it's okay. Now, how are the coaches approaching this? You know what I mean? How do they keep us engaged with it? How do they inform us on what we need to do better, or inform us on what we didn't do correctly, and how we get that cleaned up? I mean, it definitely sucks. It's terrible, but it has to be okay. Well, we're not gonna let that happen again, and we're going to fix it. And hey, like I said, it's back to the grind. So you got to figure out what the miscues were and how you fix them, and that starts from the top down. But honestly, it starts with you looking yourself in the mirror. Then it starts from the top down.
Right.
How do you inject energy into a team that's lost 4 games in a row?
That I don't know. I wish I had the answer. Yeah, that's a great question. I wish I had the answer for that. I really don't. I think you lead by example if you're a leader on the team. You lead by example, and then you. I don't know. I was one of those leaders that like I'm going to push you to the brink, and either you're going to fold or you're going to jump on board, and you're going to give everything you got. And I don't know if that's what they're doing. I mean, just looking at the generations nowadays, it's like either you do or you don't. And I'm going to do me, but if you don't do it, that's cool. That's on you. You know what I mean? It's not. I don't want to say it's a selfish type generation, but it's like I'm not going to hold you accountable because I mean, you're going to make your own decisions. And I think that's kind of what we get is that we don't hold each other accountable in the locker rooms. That's the only way I can see you trying to inject energy. It has to come within, honestly.
Here's the question fans want to know. How much of that energy is the coach's responsibility to get the team fired up? And how much is it on the players to go out there and play fired up?
For me, I mean, I've always, because I was in the program before when I was coaching, and I heard a lot about the coaches aren't excited, the coaches aren't rah rah. I mean, not everybody gets fired up from a rah rah coach. I mean, I know I was not one of those guys. Like you could sit here as a coach and try to be rah rah and get me hyped up, and I'll look at you like you're crazy, like you're doing too much. I mean, I was more of a internal, like I'm more of an internal guy. Like I get myself fired up, you know what I mean? And it's just the love of the game. It was like not too much of the rah rah that had to get me hyped up. It's like I'm about to go out here and I'm about to play football. You know what I mean? So I mean, I think more of it is on players than it is coaches. Because honestly, if you look at the description of a coach, it's more or less of the X's and O's and putting you in position. It's not about hyping you up. Coaches aren't supposed to be hype, man. They're not. Yes, you want to have a little bit of juice, but I mean, that shouldn't, as a player, that should not determine on if you're fired up about playing a game and winning a game. If my coach ain't fired up, okay, well, I'm about to be fired up because I'm about to go out here and I'm about to go smack somebody in the face. I mean, yeah, it sucks when your coach doesn't have a lot of energy, maybe, but I mean, you guys know who I played for. It wasn't too much energy there, but every day I went out there and I played fired up because I just love the game of football.
Yeah, I'm in the same boat. Like I just don't know how much of that is the coach's responsibility.
Yeah.
Like I think a lot of it is like, again, you get 12 opportunities. Like you work all year, literally all year, and you get 12 opportunities to go play the game. If you're not fired up, each and every one,
Yeah, you go through
that's
camp. You go through
kind of
all
on
off
you.
season. Yeah, you go through all off season, all camp. That's the hard stuff. That's when it's really hard. That's the grind. So
Right.
those Saturdays when you get to play, that's when you're supposed to have fun. You're supposed to be fired up about that. I was never fired up about going into camp, going into higher ground. I'm like, but when I came out of higher ground week 1, I was fired up. I mean, it's having passion for the game. You can't really teach passion. Either you love it or you don't.
Yeah. Aaron?
I don't know. I'm just wrapping my mind around all of it. Like I asked one of the guys on the sidelines, one of the media guys, as I was looking at that game, just when was the last time that you can remember watching a game that you just were so uninterested in? Because for me, outside of the Fenway Bowl, I don't know when the last time was that I was that at the end of a game that disinterested in a game. It's been a long time.
2017, 2016. Those were, Zach will tell you, those were very rough times. First as a player inside the program, and then as a player 1 year removed from the program, those were not fun.
No, they were not fun. But one thing I will say about 16 is, yeah, we went 4-8. Didn't make a bowl game. I think we only won. I think all of our wins came from home games. We went 0 on the road. Yeah, we went 0 on the road. Last game in Nippert, we got destroyed by Memphis. But one thing I can say is the group that I graduated with, we made it a point to go out there and have fun and give it our all.
Right.
Like and maybe that's because I was playing, but like we stayed engaged. Like, yeah, we were getting destroyed, but I remember they tried to take me out. I would not come out because I'm about to go down with the shit because I love playing this game. Regardless, I'm still fired up to be out here. I'm still proud to wear the C-Paw. So I'm not going to sit here. Like you said, Aaron, if you're sitting in the stands, you're disinterested. That's terrible to watch. It really is. But I mean, one thing I said about our group, we always stayed engaged in it. And it's times where you see now that they're just not engaged. And that sucks.
Somebody's got to step up and say what's happening isn't acceptable.
Mm-hmm.
Like that's the necessity. Like if you're looking for the coaches to do it, it's on.
It's one of those nights.
Yeah, I know. It showed up, by the way. It's on the back end now.
Hooray.
Yeah, I don't know what is going on tonight, but it is definitely one of those nights. There's a thunderstorm happening here, which is why my Wi-Fi dipped low. So I'm hoping not doing the camera will help me from being knocked out. Maybe it's a matter of there is a thunderstorm rolling through the tri-state that is causing issues. But hopefully we'll get Zach back here in a minute. But too somber, man. Like I wish I had more energy about this, but I need to see them show me that they're going to come out and kick some ass on Saturday and not be satisfied with, just coming out and showing up.
Yeah, it's almost like they were putting in the 9 to 5 and couldn't wait to get out of there.
Right.
I don't know. It's got to be better than that. While we're waiting for Zach to come back, do you want to move?
There he is.
There he is.
Should
we move into?
Oh, we both did it. There you go.
Yep. Should we move into any of the other topics we wanted to talk about as we're about 35 minutes into this?
Yeah, I mean, that's, I don't have a whole lot else to say about Baylor other than go play better.
Go win a winnable game. Baylor's
Yeah.
also reeling, and if you lose this game,
Where are the wins?
the only other
Where are
teams
the
without
wins?
the only other teams without a Big 12 win at that point would be what BYU or I'm sorry, UCF.
And yeah, I mean, Houston had the miracle.
The miracle, yeah.
You
Not
don't want to
great.
be the only. You don't want to be the only team without a Big 12 win.
No, you
Yeah,
don't.
I mean, Oklahoma State next week, they are starting to play really well. They are at home. That does not look like a whole lot of fun. Kansas, I mean, they've shown they can be really, really good.
Yeah.
Let UCF pave the way for a winless Big 12 season. We'll let them pave the way for that. They want to be the guys that pave the way for everything.
Yeah, they can pave that way.
Yeah, they've gone winless multiple times in their recent.
Sure have.
And they got Texas this week.
Yeah, good luck.
Ugh.
Or no, they got Oklahoma. Sorry, Houston has Texas.
Either way,
UCF has Oklahoma.
Good luck.
Yeah. Let's get to a couple other things. How about Michigan? NCAA is investigating sign stealing, centered around, I guess the basis of it is they've been somehow people associated or connected to Michigan have been in the press box at games. And it's been fascinating today as this story came out to see people digging up old quotes. And there was one from Greg Schiano that kind of hit that was like, there's some stuff going on. We can't really get into it right now, but there's what's happening in this game is not copacetic, so to speak. And then I saw somebody pulled up one of the like anonymous quotes in one like the preseason stuff that happens every year. Like we asked this many coaches anonymously about da 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 da, and one of the comments was, it's like when you play Michigan, you go into the game and they know all your hand signals, they know all your stuff from the sidelines, like before the game starts.
Bill Belichick walked so Harbaugh could run.
Harbaugh has come out with a statement saying he has no knowledge, zero knowledge of any wrongdoings, and he is vehemently against whatever the accusations are. Zach, you've played, you've coached. Sign stealing. What's your take on opponents stealing your team's signs?
Obviously it's wrong. But I mean, if you're a competitor, which a lot of people, in the sport are, you try to find ways to get a competitive advantage. And if I don't agree with sending people out for that sole purpose. But I mean, if you happen to catch on to something, I mean, who's to say you shouldn't use it? You know what I mean? That's like playing a deck of cards and somebody's like openly flashing their hand. You're like, oh, well, I'm not going to give you that card. You know what I mean? It's kind of, I don't know. It's tough, but I mean, being a coach in the game, obviously being a player in the game, and even as a player, I mean, I would always try to find some type of advantage. I mean, hand signals, like when you look at a quarterback and receiver, I mean, they do certain hand signals for certain routes. If you can get a beat on that, you're going to take advantage of it. I mean, that's just
right.
I mean, that's you're trying to win the game. No, you're not trying to cheat, but I mean, if you're openly giving something up, I'm picking up on it, I'm going to use it to my advantage.
Right. But sending somebody to the press box in games that you don't have a say in, and having them sit there with a notebook and write down all of your hand signals, that's a bridge too far, right?
Yeah. I mean, because now you're taking the competitive out of the game. You know what I mean? Because now you're going out your way to do something that has nothing. Like you go into a game that has nothing to do with you. I mean, yeah, that's an opponent, but like you're not going out of your way, taking time out of your day when you don't have to be there to be there, just for that sole purpose. Yeah, that's taking that. I wouldn't say that's taking a competitive advantage. I think that's just doing way more than you need to, and then you don't really trust yourself and your scheme, and you don't have any confidence in yourself or your
Well,
team.
and doesn't this have to become like over the last 2 years we've seen Michigan overtake Ohio State,
Yeah,
a team
I
that's
think that might just come down to Jimmy's and Joe's though. It
yeah,
might,
yeah.
yeah.
It's also like if they're doing it to Michigan State.
I think you cut out.
Yep, he cut out.
I said if they're doing it to Michigan State, they're damn sure doing it to Ohio State. If they're doing it to Rutgers, they're damn sure doing it to Ohio State. Like they got
Right.
a system that somehow they think is working for them. I'm fascinated to know, like, who are these people that they're getting into press boxes around
Yeah,
the Big Ten?
that's I don't see how you do that, honestly. But because I mean,
Are you
college games are
disguising
so
media,
that
disguising scouts?
it's so hard to
Like,
get into games nowadays. Unless I mean, you do have those titles.
Some of that would be on the SID too for not vetting who's coming into
Yeah.
their press box.
you know what would be fascinating to me is if it's a former player at Michigan that's now like a scout in the NFL.
Oh.
that has clearance, that is in a position
That'd be crazy.
to do something like that. Like, I can't imagine there's media members that are going to put their career on the line for something like that, because then you're just going to be blacklisted from every press box.
And then you can say the same thing for like a scout too. I don't think a scout will go. I mean,
I know.
Once you got your foot in the door with the NFL, I mean, I don't know that I'm trying to.
yeah.
That the scout thing
Fuck
though
that
is
up.
really the only thing I can think of is like how you would get in, unless you like fake it and you say you're an NFL scout, like you
Just put on a Texans polo and show up at a game and say,
It could be
Well,
all
but
be
you do have to
speculation.
work.
though.
You do have to work back channels. You have to go through the SID or whatever to get credentialed. Like you would think there would be a checks and balances there, but like I want to know more about the story on how these people were getting into essentially spy, and who turned it into the Big Ten.
That
What
could
did
be
the investing?
speculation. Somebody's upset that Michigan just keeps beating them, so now they're trying to
Ohio State.
some type of rumor out there just to get it stirred up, you know. Because I mean, that's a big allegation, big speculation right there.
It is. I think
It's
I'm
like
gonna
that
have to do the
whole
rest of
different-
this with my camera off.
Yeah,
Every time I turn it on, I get bumpy.
Big Ten in shambles right now between all the
Mhm.
craziness they have happening right now. At every week, it seems there's something else coming out on the Big Ten, and as you add more members to your conference, I can't imagine that goes away anytime soon.
Let's add a little SEC to the mix as well.
Why not?
SEC Commissioner Greg Sankey was on with Paul Feinbaum today, and they were talking about essentially college football is putting up massive ratings this season. Some of that, I'm sure, is attributed to everybody wanting to watch Deion at Colorado, because they're playing, like they played an 11 o'clock East Coast kickoff last week and had like 5 million people watch the game, which if that was the case, the Pac-12 wouldn't be dying, because people would have been watching, other than degenerate gamblers on the East Coast, people would have been watching Pac-12 games. That wasn't happening until now. But he asked Greg Sankey about this, and Greg Sankey basically said, look, we are in for, because of NIL and because of the transfer portal, we are in for a decline in ratings. The only reason we're not seeing it this year is because of the actors and writers strike in Hollywood. as if all of the major college football games are played during the week, when scripted shows are on or released, if you're a streaming network, whatever the case may be. Somebody should tell Greg that nobody anywhere tries to compete with college football on Saturdays.
Nobody.
There's no new programming on NBC, ABC, CBS. You know what they're all running at night? College football.
The NFL even waits until the season's over to move into Saturdays.
Yeah, they don't mess with the NCAA. They say, okay, your regular season is over on December 5th. We'll start running Saturday games on December 6th or like December 13th or whatever, 12th.
And the NFL beats everybody, and they still would rather hold off until. What a
crock of shit from that guy to try to once again vilify players getting paid and players having the ability to choose what's right for them as a student athlete.
Well,
like it's gross. It's gross.
I think there was somebody in government. I want to say it was a senator, or
I think it was a senator.
Okay, then you know where I'm going with this.
Mm-hmm.
Said the other day that if kids want to get paid, then they should just go pro. Obviously, not even knowing what the hell he was even talking about, because you can't go pro until you've at least been in.
Not allowed.
Correct. You literally can't go pro until you're 3 years in, removed from 3 years removed from high school.
And it's one in basketball. You have to be 19. You have to have graduated. Right. Like, yeah, there's restrictions in both fields that you're not allowed to just go pro.
Of course, this is coming in the same week that we find out that I believe Brownie is making 5.9 and Shadur Sanders is making somewhere 4.8. I think.
Yes. I was ahead of my time.
Just take a deep breath. Like,
well, not everybody's making those numbers, but
right.
But you're talking to the all-time starts leader in the history of UC football.
I understand.
Nobody started more games than this man.
Certainly money to be made.
Yeah.
Des Ritter is like, damn, that guy started a lot of games.
Yeah.
It's like, come on, man. Like, I'm tired of these people speaking to us like we're stupid.
That's what I'm tired of. It's sad, like, because I mean, as much money as these universities make just off of the performance of the player or the team, but it comes down, you don't have a team without the players. So it's like, how do you not compensate them in any way? And if somebody wants to support them, or an organization or a company wants to support them, what's to say, no, I'm not going to let that happen. You can't do that. But it's me. How can you not let me make money off of me and my name and what I'm doing? You know what I'm saying? And that's because you're making money off of me. So how can I not make money off of me?
Right.
Tax filings show that Greg Sankey in 2022 made $3.7 million. He did not play a down of college football.
Nobody was going to see him. No one.
Nobody paid for a ticket to go see Greg Sankey.
Yeah, and that's
I mean, it's absurd to like just cook in when essentially this is what drives me nuts about all of this. Sports has become the male version of reality TV. It is reality TV. Like any way you slice it. And the networks pay for it. They pay a shit ton of money for it because it's compelling. And for the people at the top of the food chain to continue raining down on the people that provide the entertainment is bullshit. Like it's
I'm just taking money out of their pockets. That's all it is.
But books and housing and college education. Come on, man.
Yeah.
Give me a break. Give me a damn break.
Ohio State's made it $1 billion industry a year.
Yeah.
They're giving the kids they don't have to give the kids any of it.
They don't
None of
want to give the kids
Of
any of it.
course not. It's all budgeted.
Now, yes,
Mhm.
that's now they're mad because they have to.
Yep.
Because there's no option anymore. Guess what? They tried not to engage in this, Ohio State. And all of a sudden they could see everybody else
Yeah.
pulling away. They
So
weren't
now-
able to land these elite recruiting classes with the number one wide receiver and the number one defensive end and the number one quarterback. All of a sudden that started to slide. Why? Because other teams were focusing more money on NIL. And guess what? There's no guarantee that you're going to make money after college.
Nope.
So go
No.
get paid.
Right. Not playing football, at least, you know.
Right.
I'm just waiting for Ohio State to try and push the envelope for the same tax privileges that states like Texas and Florida have, where you don't get taxed on income, and see Ohio State be the one pushing for that for the entire state to change, to get that competitive advantage.
Yeah. No state. Well, but you still would have to pay federal. It's just no
Sure.
state income tax.
Correct.
But yeah, there are
Huge
states
difference.
that They are. Yeah, they're gonna go to the legislature and say, when it becomes that, you know, you're really gonna have to pay taxes on NIL money, like really, really have to pay taxes on NIL money. Well, if Florida has this advantage and Texas has this
The
advantage,
SEC teams, right?
yeah, then we have to have this advantage too. And you know what'll really set them off is that Michigan will do it
Mhm.
before Ohio. And if Michigan does it first,
Yeah.
all bets are off.
See ya.
boys.
Yeah.
Yeah, all bets are off. But great for us. For
Yeah.
you, I live in Kentucky. It doesn't do a damn thing for me. But no state income tax coming to Ohio.
That'd be great.
Oh, all right. I think that's all we wanted to get to tonight. Got anything else, Zach? Anything you want to say?
No, I'm good. Just
Go
hope
win
these
the damn
Bearcats.
game.
Yeah, I'm saying hopefully these Bearcats figure something out.
Who's Mueller got this week?
We play Martin Luther King up in Detroit. We leave tomorrow.
Well, good
Yeah.
luck on your away game. That's quite an
appreciate
away
it.
game.
Yeah. Cleveland last week, now Detroit this week. You know, just got to go up there and win. That's it.
When did the playoffs start?
Next
2
week.
weeks.
Next week.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, so
Taking some physical lumps
yeah,
in the last couple of weeks of the season.
yeah. Finishing off the year strong, the regular season.
Yeah. It's swinging,
Yeah,
getting ready for the playoffs.
that's
and
it. Just got to
see what
warm
kinda-
up, warming up.
Yeah. All right. That's going to wrap it up. Thanks, Zach. Appreciate you
Thank
being
you.
here again. Love having you and your insight. We will see you next time. That is the Nightcap, brought to you by Galactic Fried Chicken, right here on BearcatJournal.com.
See it.